Come on. You fucker. Alright. Welcome to Z Reviews. If you've never been here before, I'm here to bitch for a little while about things and stuff. I'm here to bitch about games and headphones. Well, not games. Games are sounding amazing. This is Squad, by the way. It probably has the best sounds of any game I've ever played as far as realism and dynamic range. And if you don't know what dynamic range is, it means shit's quiet. And when you fire a fucking gun, it's loud. That's dynamic range. When you watch a movie and they're talking and then someone shoots it, it's like, pew. That's no dynamic range. All right, you've learned something. If you've never heard the term dynamic range and you've been sent here by one of your friends because you're bad, I apologize for you being bad. I just didn't get to you soon enough. What we're going to try to talk about is basically how you approach a gaming scenario with audio. Because I go to LANs, I go to fights, RGB, I've been to MagFest. I'd love to go to DreamHack one day, but if I went to DreamHack, I'd probably have to just start doing heroin because all I would see is a sea of RGB gaming headsets. A sea of them, because I see them all the time. And the problem with an RGB gaming headset is it's got a LED in it, which usually means it came from the manufacturer of your keyboard. And B, the manufacturer of your keyboard shouldn't be making fucking audio equipment. Now, I know a thing or two. I have experienced some headphones and speakers, maybe. I don't know. I've dabbled. I've dabbled in the subject of audio for a little bit. And I play some games. Not hardcore, not oh my god, I need to veins, I need to, shoot up before a match. Not that hardcore. But I know enough. And I know enough to talk to you about them right now. So here's the problem. Let me get right to it. Stop with the RGB. Stop thinking you need this like glowing headset that matches your keyboard and your glowing mouse pad. Just listen to me from a perspective of a person who knows what audio is and how it should sound. Now, a game like Squad is rare that the audio is so good that it makes me want to puke. But audio is important. We have 5 senses. 5. I'll get to that. We taste things and we smell things. Most games do not involve those. We touch things, which I'm going to guess like tactile feedback on mice and keyboards and that sort of thing. Like how fast the mouse moves. That's a sight. Then we have sight and sound, and those are the 2 big ones. You need those. Now, sight, 40-inch 4K. Or if you want to go with a 21:9 vertical to try to play games, good luck. That's taken care of. You get your GTX 1080, you crank it up to 100 million frames per second, you'll be fine. But sound is a little bit more delicate. You can't just brute force sound. You can't just say, well, it makes sound, so therefore it's good enough. Which is what every gaming headset on Earth does. Let me pull out, I have it in its official case. Here's the official case of the A40 Astros. Look, it matches and everything. This is what has plagued society for a while. Because it's like, oh, it's cool. That's the problem. Gamers, and if you're a gamer watching this, you've never been to this channel before, you're going to realize something real quick. I don't give a fuck about cool. I like cool, but it doesn't dictate what I listen to. So this looks cool, and it says Astro, and this doesn't have LEDs on it, which is surprising, honestly. And everyone runs Astros, and they're like, these are obviously the best. You get sold a line of dialogue from companies who want to sell you $5 headphones for $200. And it's like, well, if you want to win, you got to obviously have this headphone, because, this gaming headset. Headset's the word, honestly. People are obsessed with headsets, which is just headphones with a microphone attached. We're going to cover that. We're going to cover lots of things, and if you want to skip to a certain part, maybe in the description there'll be time codes. I don't even know if I could wrap my head around that for now. But what I'm basically going to be talking about is you can use headphones for gaming that aren't Astros. You can buy these things or this thing, which is specifically for gaming, or anything over there, or anything over there, and use them for gaming. And the main point of today is there's two types of gamers. This is what I didn't have in my previous gaming episode, where I talked about headphones and how 7.1 headphones with multiple drivers are bullshit. I'll get to you, baby. If you want to argue this point in the comments, feel free. An argument in the comments is good. It means I get to look and see what people are actually talking about. I think there are two types of gamers. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I've only ever met the filthy casual, of which I am more of a part of, and the gamers who are watching this and they've already lost their attention span of like 4.5 minutes because it wasn't 33 seconds long and they didn't hear footsteps during the episode, so they stopped. When I go to an RGB LAN or fights and they're playing competitive, when you're playing competitive, there's a completely different set of things you want versus casual, filthy, adorable, fluffy casuals. Now, I know this because I've seen people still carrying a CRT television, a CRT monitor. They plop it down. Even though it's a 1028 by 768, 1024 by 768, they still run 800 by 600 in a little window, and they run it at 200 hertz overclocked, and it's bright white, and they sit there and they stare at it because they want that competitive advantage. So let's talk about the super serial gamers first. Super serious. You're talking about, now I'm going to say Counter-Strike, but there's, obviously all sorts of competitive games that are currently going, Overwatch, things like that. And yes, you need to have a plan and you need to have the actions. You got to have your mouse calibrated. But it'd be nice if you could hear people coming. And that's all they care about. That's all hardcore, insano, footsteps are your god gamers care about. If you're on that side of the table, let's talk. This Sennheiser GSX 1000 has a mode with a crosshair on it. When you put that crosshair mode on, any headphone you plug into that unit, which is a combination DAC amp, and we can describe that in a bit, basically kills the bass, because if you're serious about playing games, you don't care about being there or the effects or going, if you just care about where the footsteps, I need to kill the fuck guy that's walking, you don't need bass. You just need murderous treble, murderous amounts of treble, right in the range of mid-range of tap, tap, tap. So when this guy's walking around, and you hear the little crunch, 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 crunch. So when you hear that, from where you are, you can go, he's coming from there. Which, by the way, is completely negated when you're using voice communications, which is why a lot of the times I will have a hotkey to mute voice communications. If you don't, you may want to figure out how to set that up with auto hotkey. Because, when your friend's like, oh man, this game server sucks, and this guy walking, it's like you died because your asshole friend was talking. So you may want to look into that if you're a super serial gamer. There are some differences in headphones in general. All right? We have open versus closed back. Here is an open set. These are the Schipp 9500s. Actually, the Philips SHP 9500S. And these are my only real pick for an open back headphone under $100. There's no reason to pick another. These are the best. They cost nearly nothing. They're infinitely comfortable with these giant felt, cloth pads. They have no clamp. They just sort of rest on your head. They use a 3.5mm wire, which grants you options, and I'll get to those in a second. But open back means, see the driver? That means when I put these on, I still hear my computer churning away because it's running squad. I still hear my voice. My cat farts and I hear it. It also means when I fire a gun, if I'm wearing these and I'm playing a game, the gun sounds come out. Now, why would you want that? Well, here's a closed set. And these are the Audio-Technica M40Xs. Not M50s, not M70s, not M30s, not M20s. M40s are the only ones I recommend anyone buy. Everything else is trash. Belongs right next to those Astros. Now, these are slightly modified because you can modify headphones rather easily. The stock cable was crap. I have another one over there, which I could link to if you'd like. These pads are ZMF cowhides. So these headphones cost around $80. These pads cost around $60, and the wire costs around $12. So keep that in mind, that the perspective of, well, why would you spend as much money on pads as you do the headphones? Because look at them. You get very few things. Remember that touch we were talking about, the sensation of touch? Well, would you want it to suck, or do you want it to be a dead cow gently pressing against your head, giving you the space for the soundstage to come in. And we'll talk about how soundstage and imaging affect games in a second. But anyway, these are closed back. There's no opening here. So you play a game, this is normally what you get. The Astros are closed back. Most headphones are closed back. I have these, the One More Spearheads here. They're closed back, and they're the... I bought these with my own money because I've heard them, and they have interesting tech, and they go into the faking it to make it sort of category, which we'll talk about. I'm going to talk about a lot of things in about 3 hours. Benefits of closed back. Actually, I should mention the website before I go any further. I've set up a website with DMS3 TV, and it's in beta right now. It's in beta. Maybe even alpha. I'll push it maybe even alpha. And it's there to sort of help guide very, very newcomers into figuring out what headphones to buy. Where it's just a slider for the price range. And if you want open or close back, which I'm explaining now. And then if amp usage with or without an amp. And then you pick the sound signature and it'll just give you some results. It's very, very beta. It's going to get worked on a lot in the next year. Because I want to replace people asking me questions with them going to that website and it just figuring things out because I know what questions people ask all the time. So what's the benefits of closed back, Zeos? Well, benefit of closed back. You put it on, even with nothing playing. I don't hear my computer whining anymore. I don't hear my cunty sister, who's not actually here, but I lived at home and I had a sister and oh my fucking So I mean, I'm sure I could, that's something everyone can relate to. And also, when I'm firing a gun or watching porn, sound doesn't shoot out. But because you're trapping it in a space, it is much harder to get it to sound, and the word I'm going to go with is natural. And I'm not talking about just gaming. I'm talking about actual sound, guitars, people talking. It's harder to do. It's like trying to make that seashell sound go away. So in open back, you put it on, and nothing's changed in the way you hear things. So just like these speakers sitting here, which by the way, these are Fluid FXP7s, I think. I'll have to learn their name because they're amazing. If I have speakers here and they play a sound, it's natural. If I put these headphones on that are open and I play a sound, it's natural because I'm not closed in, I'm not boxed in like this. Now, granted, sometimes you literally just can't use an open back. You have someone who's sleeping while you're gaming. You don't want people to hear what you're doing. Your computer is insanely loud. You got to go closed back, or you're taking them on the bus. So a closed back is your only answer. Now, there's plenty of choice in closed back, more than actually open back for this price range. They're really cheap ones, simply because I have not found a single headphone that is as capable as the Schipp 9500S. Something like these, the One More Trident, or the triple driver over ears, which they're not, they're on ears, seal out sound better than just about any headphone I've ever used. They're sharp, they're detailed, they're $250, and they're on ear, which means you may not be able to use them. All right, here's the real question. Are you coming here to be a gamer and be a gamer in the fact that you have a microphone? Here, look, ready? See that? See this thing that sticks out on these One Mores? Is that the microphone? You think that's the microphone? I mean, look where it is. It's right there. It's where a microphone should be on a gaming headset. It's not. That's literally there just to light up your face and to make gamers feel like they're wearing a headset. The microphone's actually embedded in the cup here. Because One More is not stupid. One More doesn't go and build a giant microphone rig that goes in front of your face like you're in like the military. No, they know that that's not required. They went bare bones on this for just, let's get what they need and actually make it sound good. That's why I like this pair. If you want a microphone on a headphone and you want to use it for gaming, if you want it on your face, the benefits over a desk mic, there's my mic that I use right there. That's the Lix Pro, or there's a Marantz back there. I'll swap them out. They're like $50 for that. And then I have a, well, it's one of these essentially. It's a recording interface. Microphone gets plugged in. You can plug your headphones out, and there you go. It's one unit. Basically replaces your sound card. These, the Sennheiser GSX-1000, the Sibasonic, I don't even know the name of it still, best connectivity, the Mayflower Arc, all have microphone inputs and headphone outputs, and you need that if you're going to use these wires. Now, what are these wires? Well, they take headphones like this, which come with just a standard headphone cable. allow you to plug things into it like this, and now look, you have a gaming headset. Whee! These are not expensive. These are like, I think the Boom Pro there, because this one is a special 2.5mm, so you need this for Sennheisers like in the 500 range or the Audio-Technica range, and by range I mean just the M40Xs, and it comes with, or you can buy the splitters here that take microphone and headphone and split it into 2 plugs, and then you take your device of choice and you got microphone and headphone device of choice, and I will link all 3 of these. Actually, this is in the front, and then the Mayflower Arc is in the front. If you're going to use one of these wires, if you're going to use either this Neo Musica or the most popular choice is the V-Moda Boom Pro, because that's a 3.5mm, and that will go like, yes, that. So now look, oh my God, you've won the game. You've won. Did you think about the game? You didn't lose it. You won, because ships with the Boom Pro. So ships with the Boom Pro. M40Xs with some mods, and this is like as simple and clean as, you don't need anything else for almost any game. Because here's the deal. The term audiophile is dirty, so I won't use it. But people who just listen to music on headphones have very, very asshole opinions about things. How the timbre should be if the treble is splashy, if the bass rolls off, if you could... And in games where your goal is to make this sound all day... Oh, let me make that. Shut off my monitor from shock, but... There's not much. I mean, the way those bullet casings landed, I could sort of tell that the treble was not as smooth as it could be, so I'm going to have to upgrade to a fucking $1,100 pair of stacks. Game fidelity is amazing when you have the upper echelon of headphones. But do you need it to play the game? We're here about playing the game. We're here about reducing our need for expensive bullshit. Bullshit being the word. RGB headphones that they're selling to you are all bullshit. I haven't put a single one on that has been like, you know what, these sound really good in music and gaming. That plane's gonna bother me. So here are 2 sub $100 options. I mean, this one's over 100 when you get the pads and everything. But these will do, pig. These will do. Problem is, you want to use these wires, you need to get either this $37 unit, this $150 unit, or this $200. Actually, it's under 200 now. So if that's what you want to do, if you need microphones, play game, one of these 3, one of these 2, you're done. We don't even have to talk anymore. I get up. This video is over. It's just over. Let's put on some music, and we'll just chillax. Ah, it was so good. Oh shit. Okay, so maybe you're willing to put a desktop microphone in line. When you do that, who's flying these jets? Are they paying for fuel? When you don't go this route, and you don't have to do, you know what, I don't need the microphone on my face. Because one of the differences between a microphone like this and a microphone like that is that will pick up a little more of the room. It'll pick up your keyboard clicking. This is more of a get close to your mouth. It's much less sensitive, and you can just talk into it and not worry about things. But those are very restrictive as far as choice. Because once you have one of those, you've got to have a headphone with either 3.5mm, like the Fidelio X2s, these, the Sennheisers. You can even get them on the Fostex T50 RPs like that. But all these other headphones is no bueno. Headphones like the Monoprice M1060s here, because the new revision uses a dual entry system, just like an Ava, that is an 1/8 inch and left and right. So you can't get one of those mics to work. So these are literally unavailable with a microphone adapter unless you get an Antlion Mod Mic Pro, which is the one that has the little, this here, see that? That's the little magnet mount, and you put the little magnet mount here, and you clip the microphone on, just like I looked like with that, but then you have to run a separate wire down, and that's the killer. Nobody wants to do that. I mean, you can hook up that mod mic to anything here. My Ether C Flows, L700 stacks, 660 Sennheisers. You can just hook a little microphone, but then you have to go and you got to clip the wire all the way down. So it's doable. And if you go that route, you don't have to follow the limitations of this. These three, you really only need when you're doing a mod mic or a single wire solution. You go double wire, here's what you could do. Anything you want. It's the same as getting a separate microphone input. I'll link some very basic separate microphone. Like if you're gonna go desk, $50 for that, $30 for that, $80 gets you a microphone set up on your desk. Sounds clear, you move it a little bit closer. People complain about your keyboard, tell them to fuck off. Tell them to buy you a new keyboard with browns or use rubber caps. They suck. I like to go with you suck, just whenever anyone complains. So let's unlock the restrictions. Cromwell restrictions are lifted now. You can buy any headphone to play games with. Zeos, I can buy any headphones to play games with. I have no budget. I want the best experience in gaming possible. Well, we talked about being a serious gamer. And I'm going to talk now a little bit about being a casual, a filthy casual. And there is a middle ground between the two. Because serious gamers only care about treble. They only care about footsteps. They care about positioning. But overly wide soundstage. Soundstage is when you put on a headphone and something makes a sound and it sounds like it's happening in your ear. There's no soundstage in that. But when you put on your headphones and that same sound on a different set of headphones sounds like it's happening way the fuck over there. Oh my god, is someone knocking on my wall? That's soundstage. It's sound that happens way outside where you think the headphones are capable of producing it. That's not good for serious gaming. This is the serious gaming side. This is the filthy casual side. I reside here. But super serious gaming, X1s over there, the Fidelio X1s, are not good cans for serious. They're too wide and the imaging is impacted. Now, let me explain this. How can I explain this good? This is your head. Congratulations, it's beautiful. Headphones on your head. If the soundstage is narrow, this is as far left and right as the sounds ever go. You can distinguish right and left sounds, but then the imaging comes into it. And the imaging is, if something is in front of you, someone or something is in front of you, it sounds like it's coming from directly in front of you. And then, if something's moving left, how accurately you can depict the directionality between forward and 90 degrees left, that's imaging. So, if you have a good headphone, it's rather narrow, but then you hear sounds go from right to left like this, across the entire spectrum. So if you're pointing forward and you hear a sound far left, you know it's 90 degrees. If you hear a sound 90 degrees other direction, you turn. But good imaging, you hear a sound there. There. Not some bad headphones, mostly gaming headsets, which is what makes this hilarious. The imaging is so poor that you get three positions. You get center, you get left, and you get right. So you're standing there and it's like, I hear a mishmash of shit happening here, and then all of a sudden it's rightish, and you sort of turn. With good headphones, you can click, 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 click every minute. You know where people are. AD2000X is right there. Some of the finest imaging I've ever heard. And that works in music too, by the way. This is a gaming video. I'm talking about gaming. But you put those on and you listen to like an orchestra, something really classical, something that snobs would drink whiskey. No, scotch too, not whiskey, scotch. And you could hear the violinist is not there or there. The violinist is somewhere there and even down. He can get crazy. Some of these headphones, these upper echelon headphones, Stacks, Ethers, 660s, even the M1060s, with your little bit of modding, a little bit of love, and the right power, can do amazing things like that. But forget you assholes who love to play games and win. I don't want to play games and win. I want to play Doom. I want to play fucking Doom, and I don't give a flying fuck about footsteps because it's Doom. I want my nipples to get so hard I have rips in my shirt. So then what do you look for? Well, then you could just ignore almost everything. Then you go for as wide a soundstage as possible because you don't need that pinpoint accuracy. You just want to hear a fucking thing go rah over there, and you're like, ah, and then an explosion happens, and you fire your gun, and it's like doesn't fire because firing pin's pulled out because I'm badass. Explosions need to shake your very being. You don't want that when you're doing serious gaming. I want that because I'm playing like a filthy casual. I'm playing Left 4 Dead with my friends. I don't care if I win or lose. I'm playing Killing Floor 2. I'm never playing Left 4 Dead. I haven't played Left 4 Dead in a while. I really should see if there's new maps. New maps are great. But I'm picking bad games, you know. But if you're playing an RTS, there's no real aim strategy to that. So you can enjoy it. When you can just sit there and enjoy the audio and not worry about it, that's this side of the table. And that side of the table gets X1s. Up there, the Monoprice Retros. I'm even going to stretch out and say the Monoprice M1060 closebacks. These Fostex TH900s are amazingly well-balanced, Japanese-made, wood-cupped headphones. And if you play a game in them, you shit your pants because it's so big sounding. When you play music in it, it's like, oh, it's so big sounding. But then you play a game comparatively to like something in the lower tiers or something narrow and accurate, and you're like, oh, what have I been doing to myself all these years? I play games on speakers sometimes, which means I can't talk to my friends because if there's a firefight, you can't. So I'm a dick. So if you're a dick, welcome. If you're not a dick, we'll concern ourselves. What else are we talking about? I brought this wire out too just to show it off. And it's just a standard 3.5 to like, you know, what you'd have on your phone. But you could buy something like this. This is a status audio version. And I use it to make my phone calls. But you could use it in gaming just as well. It's just a microphone that you could put through one of those splitters and put into one of these devices. Now, if you're not putting it into one of those devices, what else can you put it into? Well, let's talk about sound cards. All right, Zeos, should I buy a sound card? No, you should not. It's 2018. The last year for sound cards was like 2009. Do not buy anything that's a sound card. Most sound cards now have external enclosures because the inside of a computer, in there, see that noisy bitch? All that power and all that fans, that's a bad place to process audio because audio is very sensitive to voltage changes and interference. So you do not want it anywhere fucking near that. See that computer? Yeah. No, there's the DAC for it. For this setup is, USB and then a thing and a power. Way away from that. And you should do the same thing. But I don't have the budget. Zeos, I want to buy an $80 card. Well, here's a $110 Mica Origin. Now, this does not have a microphone in like those do. But I love its form factor. You plug it in USB or fiber optic. It's a little knob. Look, not off, on. Not that hard to figure out. Here's my other one over here. It'll take an 1/8 inch or a 1/4 inch connection. High or low gain switch, depending on how hard your headphones are to drive. And we'll have to talk about that right now. Because I'm recommending... in the description of this video is going to be a ton. On that website will be a ton of headphones. They're just hard to find because we haven't sorted it out. But hopefully by the time this video is released, it'll be sorted out. Some headphones, now that we're done with like, okay, here's what soundstage is, here's what imaging is. Some headphones have bass, some headphones have no bass. Most headphones will be comfortable. I will not recommend a headphone that is not fucking comfortable. And if I do, I'll tell you how to fix the comfort. Power. But say it in the way that Biff Tannen did in the second Back to the Future. No, it wasn't Biff Tannen. That was the guy who played Bruce Lee. It was the Asian guy. Power! You have to have power. Now, most of these headphones are easy. Easy. Relatively easy. Actually, relatively easy. This doesn't even require an amp you can buy, and hard as shit. Now, T20s, T50s, hard as shit. HD6XXs, hard as shit. What else we got? Fostex, I'd want more power. Those advanced alpha planars, which are open yet narrow in the imaging and the sharpness, and oh my god, gaming in those. Power. So what are we talking about? CS, I don't understand. What do you mean? So there's sound cards, but you don't get those. So these external little boxes, what are they called? Well, this would be a combo DAC amp. A DAC is a digital to analog converter, which basically takes it from ones and zeros into pretty waveforms. And the amp part of this, and it's not the same kind of amp that makes speakers go. it's a very small amp that makes just headphones go, is the other half of this. All of these have DAC amps. Hell, your phone has a DAC amp. An iPod mini has a DAC amp. Everything that takes a digital song or digital sound and actually makes it produce in the real world has a DAC and an amp. So, does this have a DAC and an amp? Now, there are separate DACs and amps. For example, and this is the nicest example, this is a JDS Labs old DAC. And this just has fiber optic input or USB input and then RCA output. So just signal. It just makes signal. Can't plug headphones into it. Can't plug speakers into it. Well, not unpowered speakers. This below it, this big motherfucker, this is an Emotiva A100 Bass X. And so this is the best example I have to show you of just a DAC and just an amp. Now this is a speaker amp, but it has a headphone port. So I can plug headphones into it. And that is the two separate components. Now this has both those components in it. My phone has both those components in it. Hell, this pair of headphones, the Spearheads, are the most similar thing to like the A40s, but still acceptable. And sure enough, there's USB right there. So inside these headphones is a DAC and an amp. And that's where some problems lie. Now I've gotten to trust certain brands and the size reduction of things so that, okay, you're powering it with, because this is powered by USB. This is powered by USB. This is just a very restricted space, and that's where I get concerned. Because to put all the duties of a DAC and all the duties of an amp for a headphone in the headphone itself, and some of them like the Bluetooth ones that are also battery powered, then you're throwing a battery in there, you're really restricting on the size. The less restrictions on how big something can be, the better it'll usually be. That's not always true, but it works. So there's a DAC amp built into this, or you could plug it in 3.5mm, and there's a DAC amp in this. And I recommend this highly. Now there's no bass boost on this, which might be a thing if you have, because here's the thing, if you get headphones that are bass light, like serious headphones, and these Schipp 9500s, I would lean more towards the serious gamer side. But if you have a bass boost on your amp, so if you're using like a FIO Q1 or a FIO E10K or an IFI anything, and you get a little bass boost, if you're done playing serious gamer time, you can move over, you can flip a switch, and you can get that low end shake that makes your nipples rocket through your shirt. This is $110. Well, that one is an older model, but I'm just using it to show it. Something like this, USB to your computer, fiber optic computer, either one, this is going to destroy a fucking sound card just because it's out and over here. Now, the issue with that is it's powered by USB. This is powered by USB. This is powered by USB. This is not powered by USB. So the Mayflower Arc gets its separate input, but it's still only 5 volt. So at that point, it's like we're talking about power and hard to drive. Most of the headphones I recommend, most of the headphones on the thing where you say without amplifier, they'll work just fine. But some of them really need a little more kick in the balls to go. And you don't want to be left like, these headphones sound thin, which means like, well, it's supposed to be bass, but there's no bass. That's when you want a real headphone amp. Now, I brought out 2 examples, and this is terrible. This is how Zeos, I should have a Magni 3 or something. I'll link that in the description. But it's like, so here is a prototype amp that I'm testing for GameFidelity Labs, and it's very rough, but this is just an amp. Just an amp. So if you have a source, you could even, if you have your sound card out in your computer and you trust it, 3.5mm to 3.5mm, and this will amplify your headphones harder than your sound card will. Now, we want to talk about DAC amps. Remember how we said there's DAC amps and like, oh look, there's a DAC amp in this and there's one in that. Well, here's just an amp. Ugh. This is the Own 7S, and this has got balance. We're not even going to talk about balance in this video, but this is you can get amps like this, just amps. That giant tube is just an amp. That giant thing is just an amp. So, I have to reload. I need to do this every once in a while to make sure my erection doesn't go down. 200 meters. 200 meters. I forgot what the key is to hold my breath. I'm doing it in real life. Oh, you suck. Anyway, planes are gonna make sound again. Feel you like this style of crazy, no plans, no reading reviews, you should join the channel. So now that we've abandoned the need of putting microphones on it, you've bought a desk mic, or you've got a mod mic and you've got it attached and you're willing to run the wire down, now you can start looking into like the crazy end of headphones. Now, this is an open back and this is an open back, and these are stacks, and I'm not even going to go into why these are different and better than everything on earth, but they are. They just are. The 660s here surprised me. These are $500 for the pair, and they're just plastic. They look like plastic cheap headphones. They're just like, what are these shitty things made in Ireland? This game, these headphones, MagFest 2018, it was the new year. I had people lined up to hear gunshots on these headphones. The imaging, stupendous, spectacular, award-winning. And then the volume from the efficiency, people thought they were... I was getting ready to put earplugs in to fire guns with these on. So now here's the question. Are they serious or are they fun? They're so serious, they are fun. They don't lack the bass like a real stupid person would like. I want no bass. There is a middle ground. This is a fluid entity between serious and fun, and some of these take up both spots. M1060s, you absolutely can serious game in these because their imaging is perfect. You'll hear footsteps all day. You'll hear bass, and you could fix that by adding an EQ or by trimming it in Windows, or I don't know if I'm ready to pick up that mini DSP yet. Let me just say, for those of you in the know, for those of you who have watched the channel and know what the mini DSP is and can do, and you know that you can get a remote control and pick 4 different profiles, could you imagine the shit you could do when you're in like, I want to play a game mode and I don't want to play a game mode? Because you could plug your headphone amplifier into this, you could use it as the DAC, and you could be like, uh-oh, time to play serious gaming, click a button on a remote control, all the bass disappears, just the right frequency ranges come up, you add a little bit, you could even add delays and effects. I mean, not reverb or anything, but oh, that's $200 by the way. And this is also a DAC, but not an amp. So it'll just feed out to an amp. Like that's an amp, that's an amp, that's an amp, that's an amp. Those are amps. I'm not going into detail on the mini DSP. Let's just say I haven't tried to tune it for gaming, but I'm imagining it's going to be insane if you do. Another thing I want to talk about, and that's why it's on the table. This company, one more, I found out that they're partnering with Waves, or NX, the Waves NX technology, which is going to be head tracking, which is what's on the new Mobius, which is the new Odyssey gaming headset, because everyone's trying to get into gaming headsets. And here's the thing. If you're buying gaming headsets now and you're buying RGB because they're the same color and they match your keyboard, you're dumb. You're misinformed. I don't want to come out calling you all morons like I did in the other video. Don't watch that video if you're one of those people. But you're misinformed because you haven't watched this video. If you've watched this video, then you should know better. Then I can yell at you all I want. But what I really think, okay, we got imaging, we got bass, we got width, we got what gamers want is a budget, and this is the most budget you can get. Here, you ready? Ready? Here you go. That, and that microphone, that is the most budget, amazing gaming you can get. Open back. If you can't run open back because your sister's a bitch and you won't shut up, there are Takstar Pro 82s, there are Status Audio CB1s, all interchangeable as far as goodness, and different types of microphone hookups, and you just with this $37 thing. And this thing is not the greatest DAC amp on the face of the earth because it's $37, but it does the job. It does the job. And that's really what you're looking for if you're just starting out in gaming. If you got money to burn and you're watching this video, you want to look at 660s. You want to get $1,800 goddamn Ether C flows, which are a closed back planar, which make things appear like they're in your brain. I can't even describe it. And then stacks, just are. They just are. Here's what this does. All right, you ready? I'll show it to you on the headphones that I use it on most. So I would bring this to the gaming conventions, them gaming conventions where the children play. And what this would do is Waves NX Tracker, it's Bluetooth module on my computer. Set up the app, turn this on, calibrate it, put it on, and then just like I'm sitting here with those speakers in a fixed position, so if I'm looking dead ahead, just like this, and there's an enemy to my right, it screams out of that speaker. Same thing happens here. But guess what? If I just turn my head just a little bit, the Waves NX tracker will modify the sound to make it sound like I'm starting to look towards the enemy. It's weird. It sounds weird. I know it sounds weird, but guess what? That's the future. If I brought nothing to this video and you knew about all this shit, you know about high bass, low bass, I'm going to list it all in the description as sorted as I can. It's going to take me hours. Head tracking. Like you have on a, yes, we should talk about VR. Will all these work for VR? Sure. If you're going to power them with the headset, with the actual plug on the headset, you're going to need something really, really efficient. So like these will work. But also lightweight, comfortable, and the VR headsets automatic. Even IEMs, I think IEMs are the way to go, truthfully. There are a few IEM pairs that I like, that if I had a VR headset, which I haven't bought one yet, my living room is perfect for it, I will go and get my good IEMs out, my audio flies. Head tracking. In VR, it's obviously required, because you look, and then the actual whole view looks with you. So if something's to your right, you look, and then you're there. Now, you don't think you need it for a fixed position. Like, well, if I want to look to the right in this, I'll just look to the right. But your head is constant. Human beings are not meant to be playing things like fixed. We're meant to be in real life. That's why VR is such a huge step, and it's going to be a huge step. We're meant to hear a thing and turn and look. And even when you're playing a game, and you've played games forever, and I've played games since I was born in 1927, I've been playing games. When you turn and look, I will turn my head just a little bit. And you don't think that little bit of turning your head is going to matter? It totally does. Now, I'm using speakers. That's the thing. I'm using speakers, so I have a fixed point of reference. If you're using headphones and someone's standing right in front of you in the game, they sound like they're right in front of you in your headphones. But when you turn your head, they don't line up anymore. And that's what head tracking fixes. Now, I would love to recommend the Waves NX tracker. The only problem is they haven't updated the software far enough and hard enough to my liking for gamers, because there's no hotkey to reset. Because it will eventually float, and all of a sudden it won't line up anyway, and you'll be like, you'll hear gunshots to your far left, but it's actually happening there, and it's like, what? So, Wave NX head tracking is an amazing thing. It just needs a little tweak to be, because boom, I've got a Japanese set of goddamn DACS electrostatic headphones with head tracking now. What haven't I talked about? This has a microphone attachment, but it's in the box still, which I refuse to get out for this video. I just refuse. I will talk about these. These will be talked about. I will be sound demoed. If you don't know, on this channel, I do sound demos where I actually have a microphone rig that records how well these can reproduce certain amounts of songs. I should throw a gaming track in there, so it's just like explosions and jets. I would use Squad to do it. Not a bad idea. But the basic point of this redo of a gaming headset thing is, oh, did I not talk about wireless? Did you notice I didn't talk about wireless? I did for a little bit. For about 1 second, I talked about this has a DAC and an amp, and if it had a battery, it'd be a wireless. And that's one of the main reasons no. Now, there are good Bluetooth headphones. I got those M&Os, which are basically RBH HP2s, and I just throw a bunch of letters out to people who don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But here, hold on. And those are the V-Moto wireless. Those are also relatively good. But if you don't know, M&O makes, or took, the RBH HP2s, which is one of my favorite headphones that disappeared, and they turned them into Bluetooth cans. Look at that. With a plug to plug them in separately. The problem with Bluetooth for gaming, because there's a microphone built in, is you get very, very spotty as far as getting the microphone built into a headset to work in a game at the same time that high quality stereo is being sent to a headset. And then there's lag. So when you listen to music, you hit play, and if it waits a quarter second and then starts, that's not a big deal. But when you're in a game and you're getting shot at, and that quarter of a second delay is there, You die, you just fucking die, right? I mean, I die, we all die. So the point of that is, don't do wireless, even if it says, oh, just avoid it. Just avoid it. Some people want to walk around the office. That's a different story. If you're not playing games directly, wireless might be fine. But if you are, stop it. Even casuals, even the filthy casuals like myself, don't wireless. What's left to talk about? I'm sure there's a million things left to talk about that I've missed. Well, did you even talk about amps and DACS? Yeah, I did. What does a DAC do? I explained it. What does an amp do? It pushes the headphones. And depending on how hard it is to push the headphones, you might need more. There's links. There's descriptions. I'm just, because I don't script anything or write it down. It's just I'm going through it in my mind. What do I want to tell those you gamers out there with RGB colors in your head? Now this also is RGB, but I'm going to give this a pass because this sounds interesting and will work for gaming, and I like it. But most of the time, do not buy a goddamn headset from a company that sells keyboards. That's a rule. One More doesn't sell keyboards. That's the key. One More sells good IEMs. And they make 2 sets of headphones, and guess what? They're both on here. Actually, they make 3. The other Bluetooth one I wouldn't put on here. These that have the Maserati rim on the back, because I have a deal with Maserati, are absurdly good. They're a little bit tough to wear for hours and hours on end because they're so small and you can't change the pads. But these are the opposite of that. They're very easy to wear for hours and hours on end. They tilt, just that weird tilt up, which I don't understand that, because I don't do that. Planars, I'm not even going to discuss like what's a planar versus a dynamic. Dynamic's like a speaker, and the planar is like that's a planar-ish thing. It's with magnets. There's a lot to this game. The audio game has much in it that I cannot explain in one video. All you have to know is you got to pick whether you're a filthy casual most of the time or a serious gamer most of the time, because you can get away with some middle ground headphones. I'll try to figure out what the middle ground headphones are the most. 660s. They're not bass light, but the imaging is so accurate. You imagine a goddamn esports team that used 660s. They would just, everyone there would just shit their pants. They wouldn't even win. They would just shit their pants from the absolute awe of it and walk off losers with shit in their pants. But oh my God, did they enjoy themselves. I could have brought out a million more headphones and I just didn't. Oh, and by the way, I prefer gaming on speakers still because fuck people I'm playing with. They don't need to hear they don't need to hear my thoughts. My thoughts. If I turn those up loud enough, those Swan M200 Mark IIIs, I could hear footsteps in other people's games just down the street. So yeah, if you like this channel, join it. There's a podcast associated with it. HiFiGuides.com is up and running. Whether it's beta or not, we're going to probably put up a subreddit or a post or someplace for people to just complain about it, because that'll be what happens. Like, hey, haven't you included this? How do I see a full list? What other options are going to be added? We'll get that involved. I have a Patreon that supports this channel and this absolute obsession. I would call it a hobby, but it's sort of like I have to do this now. It's not like optional. I want to eat. So the Patreon is going to be linked in the upper right-hand corner in the description. As always, I will make available, hold on, Alt F4. Oh no, not my whole computer. What are you doing? I'll make available both wallpapers. I don't even know if I had this one up at any point. That one, which is 4K, with a very nice, is that a 74 or 47? One of the AKs. I think it's an AK-47. And that one, which is definitely an M16A2. Yeah, it's got the bolt. Okay, so wallpapers are available in the description. Links to everything. Links to my Telegram. Links to my Discord, which, be nice on there, because it's tough to manage. There's even an IRC, which I might link to, although you're going to get eaten. You are going to get eaten. Links to all the things I've talked about. Links to my guides on Reddit, which are going to be updated. There was a gaming headphone guide, which I'm hoping the website will replace that entirely if I get it worked out enough. And suggestions in the comments. If you've made it this far, and I have no idea how long this video is, I'm going to guess 47 minutes. thirsty. So 47 minutes. If you've made it this far in and you want to leave a comment explaining what I didn't talk about or what I thought was wrong, or how there isn't just filthy gaming and that, there's also the MOBA genre, which is people play, strategy games in their underwear. That's specifically, they need a different type of sound. Great. Talk about that. But links to everything, and laid out as best I can in the description. Wallpapers, that website, which please tell me it's up and running, because I want to have the ability to also reset. Like I changed my mind. I want either. It should have the ability to show you both open and closed back, but you can't currently. So, but it does change on the fly things in your price limit, and one pair that's over your price limit, which in this case is a $1,600 pair of Sonys. Don't worry about that. But yeah, my reviews for like the Sennheiser and the Mini DSP and the Origin are all on my channel. Just go there and look for them. Reviews for everything here and here and here. These two have not been reviewed yet, or at least they haven't been released in my timeline, which is the best timeline. And I'm gonna go back now and listen to some speakers, but not this song.